What's up everybody, back with another Star Row video, and with the recent announcement of a free 5-star in Dr. Ratio, which is insane by the way. He's an imaginary hunt character, and if you didn't know, imaginary is a pretty scarce type. There's really not many options for it, and the options are basically, did you pull Welt? Alright, cool, he's kind of a DPS. Did you pull Donhang? IL, who's no longer summonable? No? Damn, that's tough. Anyway, so you're kind of like screwed, right? Imaginary wise, if you need an imaginary DPS for whatever, right? Luckily, we don't have just one weakness enemies, so thank God we don't have to run out of that issue. But Dr. Ratio is still massively good for the fact that he is a free imaginary DPS, and he is a 5-star. Shout out to Starro for that. So a lot of people have been wondering how to build him. Dr. Ratio is a follow-up attack character, so that gives you somewhat of an idea, right? But I'm here to let you know what the best relic sets are, and I'm going to test these, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that when he drops. I will be going over and seeing what the best set for him is, but I have a pretty good idea of what he's going to run. So let's go over to our good friend Hook, who is holding on to the relics I'm going to talk about. Alright, here we are. So the first one, and the one I recommend the most, is going to be the 4-piece imaginary set. This boosts your imaginary damage by 10%, and then if the enemies are debuffed, you get 10% crit rate, and if they are in prison, which means you weakness broke them with an imaginary character, you get an extra 20% crit damage. The reason this is good is because Dr. Ratio has a better chance of using a follow-up attack if the enemy is debuffed, and considering you get 10% crit rate for having attacked a debuffed enemy, you're pretty much always going to have an extra 10% crit rate. Now, the imprisoned enemies is only going to apply if they are weak to imaginary, but the fact that Dr. Ratio is going to be follow-up attacking quite a bit, and the fact that, you know, you're probably going to be using him as your main DPS, hence the most attacks, you're probably going to have support, right? He should, in theory, imprison the enemies quite a bit. This will give you an extra 20% crit damage, so these are some pretty good buffs. However, this does fall apart if you're not fighting an imaginary weakness enemy, as you will never really be able to imprison them. So you have to keep that in mind. If you have Silverwolf, you really won't have that issue though, because you can just give them imaginary weakness, but that is something to think about. Now, the next 4-piece set we're going to talk about is the Grand Duke set, which increases your follow-up attack damage by 20%. However, the 4-piece is not good because, unfortunately, the very last text, this effect is removed the next time the player uses a follow-up attack. Since you're only hitting once, you're not really getting too much out of the 4-piece, and then when you follow-up attack again, it's resetting, so you're not really getting any buffs. Same thing happens with Claw, that's why you don't use it on Dr. Ratio, but the first 2-piece set, doing 20% extra damage, is rather nice. So what I think you could run is 2-piece Grand Duke, 2-piece Imaginary, and go from there if you are not fighting imaginary weakness enemies, or you plan on using Dr. Ratio a lot and don't have Silverwolf, whatever applies to you. Like I said though, I will be doing a comparison so we can get down to the nitty details and see what really is best. Now let's go on to his 2-piece. This one is pretty simple, right? I think it's a pretty done and dusted deal. I am personally going to run the Inert Soleto? English is hard. Anyway, this increases your crit rate by 8%, and then when you reach 50% crit rate, you get 50% more damage on your ult and follow-up attacks, which Dr. Ratio has a damaging ult, so he gets a bonus on both of these, right? Plus, if you're running the imaginary set, you're already getting 18% crit rate on this, so that is a massive W. You don't have to worry about crit rate too much. I mean, obviously you still get a good amount of crit rate, but your crit rate will be getting a massive boost. Plus you get 50% on your follow-up attack, which is going to be his main damage source since you're going to be hitting enemies with the follow-up attacks the most. Now there is one that is better, but this one is going to be a bit rough to activate. This one is the Glamis set. Increase your attack by 12%, and if your speed is equal to 35 or 160, you get a 12 to 18% damage boost, right? As long as you hit one of those two thresholds. Now, 160 is quite a tall task. If you have a speed buffer, this is going to be a bit easier, but if you find yourself getting not that many speed rolls or no speed rolls at all on Doctor Ratio on your 4-piece set or the 2-piece set, whatever it may be. This is less of an option, right? Like if you fall shy of the 135 speed, definitely don't use this. Definitely just stick to this. So it really just depends on how your rolls go. If you get more speed, use the other set. If you don't get as much speed, use this set. Of course, like I said before, many times, I will be doing a comparison when he drops, so we will see how crazy the damage is. I feel like it won't be that crazy, right? But if it's like 9-day, like, you know, 3 turns pass and you still not kill the enemy with this, compared to running this set and the enemy's already dead turn 1, obviously I'll be like, okay, definitely just go for the speed on that one, right? But I'll be doing a video on that later. But I think these are easily the 2 sets you'd want to run along with these 2. If you have good rolls on, let's say, the like basic attack set, let me see, I think Natasha might have one. Yeah. If you have a good set for these, you could run the 12% attack and just like fill it in with the imaginary damage or the Grand Duke one if you want. This one is kind of a good filler piece because I know people have good rolls. I think, which one is this one? This is HP and crit damage. I forgot. I have one that has a lot of crit damage, and I haven't been able to slide it in yet because I don't have a second piece of Musketeer, but Musketeer is a good kind of, I don't have a good piece yet. Let me slide this in for now. So if you do have that, you can run that as well. Not to worry. Doctor Ratio should perform okayly, right? I've seen his kit and it's like, all right. I will have a video going over his kit later, closer to when his banner is going to drop, or I guess when the update is going to drop. So don't forget to subscribe as well. And of course, let me know in the comments if you are summoning for Dr. Ratio's Light Cone. I would say if you're summoning for Dr. Ratio, but I mean, unless you really want dupes of him, you don't need to summon because, you know, we're getting him for free, which is still insane to me. But of course, let me know if you're going for dupes, you're going for his Light Cone, you know, what relic sets you guys are going to run on him, what light cones you're going to run on him. I'll probably make a video on best light cones at some point. I just want to do the relic set first because it's a bit harder to farm relics compared to light cones. Light cones kind of just go, all right, sick, give me get the materials. Relics, it's like this whole process. Trust me, I'm trying to build up Clara right now, and part of me is like, maybe I should come back because it's taking so long and I want to like get materials up for other characters. It's rough. The relic grind is definitely a mechanic of all time. But anyway, let me know how your Doctor Ratio sets are looking, and I will catch y'all in the next Honkai Star Rail video. One other thing real quickly, we love Honkai Star Rail. We love free 5 stars. Let's go.